Good morning, everyone. My name is Mahmoud Aziz, and I am here the director for the Center for Middle Eastern Studies at the University of Arizona. On behalf of the Dean's Office of the Ecology and Social and Behavioral Sciences, Dean Lori Bolini Stodinger, and the Associate Dean for Research, Dr. Jane Zaveska, I would like to welcome all of you to the online session of the 2025 Consortium of Middle East National Resource Centers Language Pedagogy Workshop. Let me start first by thanking the CMES team again, Julie, Janessa, and Thomas, for their great work behind the scenes for making this event happen for the in-person and also for the online sessions. I would like also to thank Dr. Kate Mackay, the Associate Director of the Center for Educational Resources and Cultural Language and Literacy here at the University of Arizona, for her great help in setting up the Zoom arrangements for today's session. So thank you, Kate, for your great help. Everything looks great, arranged. As some of you know, this is the online portion of the main event. On April 4th and 5th, the in-person portion was held here at the University of Arizona. Over the past 2 decades or so, this main event was organized by the CMES, the Center for Middle Eastern Studies, here at the University of Arizona, once every grand cycle of 4 years, primarily in person, in collaboration with other Middle East centers to provide a platform for researchers and instructors to present their innovative work on Middle East language pedagogies. As I announced in my remarks for the in-person part of the event, the Center for Middle Eastern Studies this year is organizing the event in collaboration with a good number of centers. The UT Austin Center for Middle Eastern Studies, the University of Indiana Center for the Study of Middle East, the Georgetown Center for Contemporary Arab Studies, the University of Michigan Center for Middle Eastern and North African Studies, the Binghamton University Center for Middle Eastern and North African Studies, along with the Center for Educational Resources and Cultural Language and Literacy here at the University of Arizona. And the theme for this year's workshop, as most of you know, is artificial intelligence and online and technology tools in Middle East language pedagogy, opportunities, challenges, and risks. We were excited to have such a distinguished group of presenters, panelists, and participants who joined us for the in-person portion, and we feel the same spirit for today's online part as well. I would like to thank the review committee for the abstract submissions for the in-person and also for the online sessions. Dr. Iman Saada, University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, Mohammed Al-Ahmed from Georgetown University, and Ahmed Uqal from the University of Arizona. In planning for this event, we have decided to have an online part to allow for broader participation and to accommodate for those who cannot join us in person. We thought this gives us the opportunity to continue our conversations and deepen our understanding. Today's sessions will showcase 3 informative and diverse panels, 9 presentations in total. Each speaker will present for around 20 minutes. We will take the questions at the end of each panel. When we get to the Q&A part for each, we set up the meeting to allow for the audience to either put their questions in the chat or raise their hands to ask the directions directly to the presenters. Whether you are presenting or attending, we hope that you find the presentations both inspiring and rewarding for all of us. Thank you for being part of this exciting event about AI and language learning. Now I will turn it to the first panel, where Dr. Amani Hassan from New York University will be moderating it. The first panel is titled Artificial Intelligence Tools in Writing Instruction in Arabic, Assessment, Feedback, and Proficiency. It will be moderated by Amani Hassan, who is a clinical professor of Arabic at New York University, and also joined by Ghada Badawi, a clinical associate professor at New York University, Omima El Araby, senior lecturer of Arabic at NYU, New York University, but in Abu Dhabi, and Attia Youseif, a senior lecturer of Arabic at Indiana University, Bloomington. Now I will turn it over to Amani. Thank you.
Shukran, Dr. Mahmoud. I'm glad to be here with you, and on behalf of our team, I would like to thank the Center for Middle Eastern Studies at the University of Arizona for organizing this great event. Special thanks to Dr. Mahmoud Azzaz, the director of the center, for his invitation constant support, and inspiration. Our panel is the result of collegial discussions and professional collaboration between three major universities, NYU New York, NYU Abu Dhabi, and last but not least, Indiana University. The collaboration started with workshops led by Dr. Attia Youseif, to whom we are indebted for introducing us to the vast and wonderful world of AI in education and language pedagogy. Our panel seeks to address the role AI can play in the instruction and assessment of the skill of writing at the novice level, being the most challenging level as students need to work on accuracy, fluency, as well as establish foundational learning habits. Our panel, AI tools in writing instruction in Arabic, assessment, feedback, and proficiency, has or consists of three presentations. The first one, using AI to assess writing and provide effective feedback at the elementary level. The second presentation will be guiding students in the effective use of AI tools to enhance writing skills. And third will be evaluating writing proficiency with AI tools according to ACTFL guidelines. Now we'll start with the first presentation, using AI to assess writing and provide effective feedback at the elementary level. And this will be my presentation with my colleague, my dear colleague, Ghada Badawi. The questions at the core of this experiment, Ghada, you wanna take over? تفضلي.
شكرا Amani. So the questions at the core of this experiment, how can AI tools be effectively utilized to enhance the writing assessment? So we had three main questions, like regarding time saving. Can AI achieve automation of simple repetitive tasks to free up time for personalized instruction? The second question, can they streamline assessment and feedback to students for Arabic writing assignments at the beginner level? The third question, can they achieve consistency by applying uniform criteria to all submissions, eliminating any bias for grading? In our experiment at NYU New York, the level is the beginners, as Amani mentioned, a novice high, modern standard Arabic. The goal is to test both Gemini and ChatGPT in assessing the writing skill and providing feedback to the students. Why did we pick up ChatGPT and Gemini? Because ChatGPT, as we all know, is very popular among the students and the professors, and it's available for everyone. And the second one, for Gemini, it's a high quality Google's advanced AI platform. And of course, both are free. Every one of us focused on one AI tool, on testing it using the same exact unified 10 writing samples. And the prompt was unified as well. And the instructor's requests that are made to the Gemini and ChatGPT were uniform.
The original, it's the students are supposed to write a story describing their weekly college routine schedule, including the weekend. And we told them to use days of the week, time, expressions, hours, and use connectors as much as they can. Okay, Ghada, تفضلي. Next one.
Next slide, please. Yeah, and we told ChatGPT and Gemini that we need an assessment of the following: the grammar, the sentence structure, variety, our wide range of vocabulary, word choice, spelling. So we tried to be more detailed as much as we can. And at the end, we said, can you help me create a rubric for this assignment? And I need a grade out of 20. And that's what we got, Amani.
Okay, so the first step was getting to agree on a rubric. Gemini gave us a sample rubric before proceeding to analyze the sample writing. So it created a perfect rubric as far as we are concerned as instructors. It had the vocab, the grammar, the word choice, and the grade grading breakout. So this rubric And it told us, it said, rubric provides a clear and structured way to assess the student's writing based on the specified criteria. Please provide the student samples, and I will use this rubric. So this is our contract. We agreed on this rubric to evaluate the samples.
It was ready. Yeah, for me, for the rubric created by ChatGPT, do you want to print it out? I said yes to try it. And this is good to have a printable version for the students. As Amani said, like a contract between the professor and the student. And it can be used as well for future assignments at the same level. Dr. Attia, please, if we can share the rubric quickly.
Yes, the link will open.
Yeah.
We'll show you the ChatGPT. I think it was
Yes.
sort of like the printable version is more organized.
And yes, again, testing the same categories, and out of 4 points, so the student would know where he or she is. And طبعا it's so easy that if I can circle the rubric for him or her, so he knows what was good and what was not good, and the score breakdown, and the instructor comments or feedback at the end if I would like to give a personalized feedback for every student.
Okay, next one.
So printable version was helpful. Yeah, that's the writing sample. We tried to pick up 1 sample out of the 10 randomly, and to show you details with the feedback and what we have done with it. And that's exactly what we got from our student.
Yeah, this is like a random sample. We did a lot of samples, but we didn't want to bore you with all the same process. We'll talk about the process. So Gemini started correcting immediately, giving us these verb comments on verb conjugation. I have highlighted areas where this is a good job. أحب أن أنام. It was corrected right. أستمتع بالصلاة. It was corrected as a grammar mistake. قرأت أو أقرأ was correct. تدريس اللغة يوم الأربعاء تدريس اللغة العربية. In terms of grammar, it changed to أدرس. And I think here it failed to read the contextual clues that this is a student. It doesn't, I mean, the student doesn't teach economics and Arabic, but studies. So it failed to read the contextual clues here that a professor would pick up. Spelling mistakes was very accurate and detailed up to the point where it gave me بسرعة as a mistake, an error. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, why did you pick this one in particular as a spelling mistake? So sometimes it does unexplained, corrections. Okay, and it gave perfect corrections for prepositions. حروف الجر was excellent. إلى صفوفي، في، صفي. It changed صف التجارة إلى حصة التجارة. حصة is a word that we don't usually use with our students in the elementary 1 and 2 level. We use صف and صفوف. So again, it is not aligned with your curriculum or your textbook, which is a natural, result. It talked about قريب منطقة. It corrected it. But instead of saying just قريب من, which would be the simple way to correct this, it changed it to بالقرب من. So that was a little bit higher of a register than the student's level. I would just add min and end of the story. It ignored أتخرج من جامعة نيويورك في سنتين. It did not give feedback on it. But sentence structure wise, it was good feedback for the student. Again, يوم الاثنين ويوم الأحد ألعب كرة سلة. It shows يومي في يومي الاثنين والأحد, which is again higher than the proficiency level of our students. And you have to push and keep repeating with Gemini, I am focused on a beginner's level. Please give me, limit your feedback to this level, but it forgets. And it gives you something like في يومي الاثنين, which is the dual and a student at this level cannot do. But it was very good pointing use of connectors to the students, which they at this level they forget to use ثم بعد ذلك بالإضافة etc. Okay, next one. Let's go to ChatGPT corrections to compare the tools. تفضلي يا غادة.
نعم. So for ChatGPT corrections, so focused on the same things and with verb conjugation, paid attention to تدريس. It should be أدرس, he said, or أدرس, as Amani said, and أينام for, and then he put prepositions and sentence structure under grammar as well. For عندي مقابلات كثيرا, yes, I figured out it should be كثيرة. And the same thing for أجري بسرعة قريب منطقة البرونكس. So simply قريب من he did the same thing بسرعة قرب منطقة blah blah blah.
But
So
I think it was smarter غادة in changing تدريس اللغة العربية. It gave you أدرس or أدرس depending on the intent, who is teaching and who is learning. So this is a clearer explanation.
Yeah, and the good point is that all the time, Amani and I have been asking ourselves, does ChatGPT or Gemini understand what we mean by higher novice according to the ACTFL guidelines?
Or
Next
no,
slide.
novice
No,
high.
yes.
We kept saying it's novice, it's
Novice
begin.
high, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes
Okay,
or no?
next.
So we were wondering, and Ustaz Attia, inshallah, will answer this question. Next slide, please.
Next slide. تركيب الجمل بالنسبة لChat GPT.
The same thing for sentence structure. قال في some attempt يعني was not 100% satisfied بالconnectors في ثم ولكن وأحيانا لكن كان في مشكلة said okay في some details are mentioned without any transition وهيبدأ to give feedback للطالب إن إزاي يشتغل على transition وهنا I highlighted ثم وأحيانا ولكن so not 100% satisfied with the students production in here with the connectors. Next slide please Dr. عطية. Yeah, variety of vocabulary بالضبط فهو اتبسط جدا he was so happy it was so happy with استخدام استمتع أجري أسهر إن كان في variety wide range of verbs ومع كلمة بصراحة في آخر سطرين فبصراحة أريد أن أعمل في أكبر شركة فهو it said that it's advanced for novice high so I think the student might have Googled it ولكن it was a good attempt for me. أيضا repetition he said it said repetition of صديقي أذهب إلى بيت صديقي أسهر في ليلة مع صديقي that's what we give to our students like don't keep repeating the same word over and over again and try to use the vocabulary that is covered in class according to the theme we are covering. Next slide please Dr. عطية. And then for the spelling, it was very easy for ChatGPT to detect any spelling mistakes.
Next.
And ChatGPT corrections as well gave like a quick feedback at the end, relevance to the prompt لأن إحنا حطينا في البرومبت قلنا له how relevant what was written to the prompt to the content covered. So yes, the student tried to describe the weekly schedule that was good using days of the week, but the piece generally responds to the prompt but disorganized sequencing. And so it will help later with giving connectors that the student can benefit from and suggested some areas for improvement like for instance, and pay attention to some spelling. So this is good as well to be shared with the student if needed.
Okay, Gemini gave an assessment or a feedback to the student that the professor can share with the students, the breakdown of the grade, the points for each category. It said you did several errors in verb conjugation, you used prepositions sometimes inaccurate, your sentence structure is understandable in general, but you have to use connectors like it said before. I think this feedback helps us and help instructors a lot in explaining the grade because we all get the question, why did I get 13 out of 20. Why did I get 14? So this breakdown, the grade is 13 out of 20, and it said it's fair work, but that's why you got the 13, which we as professors have to explain all the time to our students. So that can facilitate the job of an instructor. Feedback.
Yeah, Amani and I discussed the difference between the feedback that we got from both Gemini and ChatGPT. Yes, Gemini was good, but we said ChatGPT was more detailed and more helpful for the student because it would highlight simply what the problem is, what the issue is, the misuse, and then the recommendation. So misuse, okay, like أينام, pay attention to spelling, pay attention to subject-verb agreement. قريب من أو بعيد عن. So the problem is prepositions. Okay, so practice the following prepositions. Next, please. The same thing for if the student is using a fragment. Okay, so fill in the blanks. And here are examples that you can use. So في يوم and fill in الاثنين الثلاثاء whatever, and then أنا, and then he would conjugate the verb, subject verb agreement, and then time expression في الساعة, so and so. And then the same thing for connectors. He said, okay, connectors were used, as I said before, was not 100% happy or satisfied with the usage of connectors, was not enough. Then he gave a list of basic connectors. 8, I mean. And then expand vocabulary with everyday topics. So the issue was no variety. It said, okay, flashcards, matching games. Practice أيضا short, simple writing daily. If it's too much at once, so just use simple sentences, 3 to 5 sentences on daily basis with main questions. And then overall feedback for the student. And I think this summary was so focused where the problems are: verb, preposition, vocabulary, and the goal to achieve, like the sentences, 5 to 8 connected sentences, using connectors on daily basis, and the topic is so and so.
Okay, then we asked Gemini and ChatGPT for an overall feedback for the student. As you can see, it's full of positive encouragement and motivation to the student. You did a good start. You can improve your writing further if you focus on the following. My criticism of this is that it's very vague. Pay close attention to how verbs changed based on the subject and tense. No specific examples, like Ghada says. In this area, ChatGPT was more successful. This is very general. Informal writing, it's better to use more formal language. How's that helping the student? It's not concrete. It's general observations that anyone can find anywhere or say. Double check your spelling. Yeah, I mean, we all tell this to the student, but no concrete specific details of what needs to be done. تفضل. Next. Okay, then we entered the sample and we said, okay, how do you suggest this student can improve their writing? Exactly the same sample. How would you give them an improved version? My comment on this is, again, lack of alignment with the student's actual level. So أصحو is perfectly fine at the beginner's level. It changed it to أستيقظ. بيت that is perfectly fine at this level. It changed it to منزل. أقابل, it changed it to ألتقي. كل يوم, it changed it to بشكل شبه يومي. أجري, it's perfectly fine. It changed it to أركض. So أطمح إلى وعديدة instead of كثيرة. Again, you see it immediately understood as the improved means take it up step higher. And I don't think this is very helpful because it will negatively reflect, like the student will see all this red and say, where did I go wrong? I mean, it's not really, it's unnecessary. These are all, it's a step up, yes, but they can perfectly be fine doing this in the beginner's level. Okay, next slide. Again, the
Yeah, and then in ChatGPT, we the same thing. We put the student sample and see what's the improved version. So أصحو وأستيقظ is the same for me. So the student is not doing anything wrong. And then for ChatGPT added خاصة, so a step up, added أزور instead of أذهب إلى, although it was fine for me أذهب إلى بيت صديقي instead of أزور. And then في أجمل مسجد we covered the superlative form, so this is a plus for me for what the student produced. Here is في مسجد جميل that was changed by ChatGPT. And then in the last sentence the student said بصراحة أريد أن أعمل في أكبر شركة خاصة بعد أتخرج, that was the problem, من جامعة نيويورك في 2 وعندي مقابلات كثيرة, it's supposed to be كثيرة الليلة. So simply ChatGPT said أريد أن أعمل في شركة خاصة بعد التخرج and that's it, and ignored the rest.
Okay, next. We compared the grade given to the same sample by the two tools. In this sample, the more or less the total grade is the same, the breakdown, but we compared many samples and they were not aligned. Although we unified or we used a uniform rubric, when you use Gemini, you get a different grading than when you use ChatGPT, and we figured that Gemini, as you can see, is tougher grader.
I tried to go by blind scoring and compare my results with ChatGPT, and it was more or less close to what I have given to the student for the grading, just a little bit like generous. For comparing results, as Amani said, especially with sample 5, for instance, here, sample 7, I mean, 9 out of 20 for Gemini, and it was 15 out of 20 for ChatGPT, which proves no consistency.
Okay, we also compared the feedback to student. I think we looked at this before in terms of spelling. We asked to get the common mistakes collected from all samples of the class by Gemini and ChatGPT, and it put together a list of common errors to address in the class for the instructor. It was good enough by Gemini, as you can see, like the prepositions, the conjugations, the sentence structure. Dr. Attia, next one. More about vocab, how to improve vocab. Use يجب أن instead of لازم. But again, use أتناول العشاء instead of آكل. That's it's perfectly fine at this stage when they say آكل. Use the time this way, use the spelling. The spelling was not specific or didn't give any specific examples. And in terms of organization as well, the feedback was very general by Gemini. Okay, and again, I asked, so as an instructor, how do you suggest I address the common mistakes? Again, it gave me suggestions, but they're very general. You know, dedicate lessons to each common error, give examples and counter examples, do targeted exercise. Yes, it is great help for a new instructor, but for an experienced one, we know this. This is what we do. As opposed to ChatGPT, you will see, Ghada. Next one, which was way more detailed in the feedback to the instructor on how to address common mistakes.
Yeah, and this was great to guide the instructors, especially if I don't have any experience with teaching Arabic. So how can I fix such mistakes في الصف? Then would highlight the problem and how can I fix it in class? So a warm-up conjugation drill, for instance, with high frequency verbs. If there is a problem with time expression, so how about you ask the students to place the time expressions at the beginning or at the end of every sentence. Next, please, Dr. Attia. Connectors. Okay, here is a list of more connectors. And how about organizing a jumbled story? Instead of repeating myself, thumma, thumma, thumma.
Okay, next one. Again, this is the same. That's
the same. And
just
then for
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 time, that's
uh-huh.
it's yes, it is detailed and
Uh,
examples. We
yes.
asked also to get an improved prompt
Mhm.
by both ChatGPT and Gemini.
Yes.
How can I improve my prompt? And that's an example of the original and how it improved it for
For
ChatGPT.
me, I was okay that it was more detailed in ChatGPT, but when we compared it with Gemini, uh,
Next.
we see the
Next
difference.
slide. Yeah, you will see the difference between the two, more detailed in this aspect. Next slide, please. The Gemini improved the prompt in a much better way, very organized with the objectives explained to the student, with the instructions on what they need to do. Next slide, please. Um, all categories, and it shared with the student how they will be evaluated in the grammar, vocab, spelling, and content. So it summarized the criteria for assessment, which is very helpful to the students as well. We compared the two tools in these categories. I think, as you can see, Gemini was excellent in spelling errors, but for instance, did not catch that students at this level do ish instead of aish. So it suggested not using shami, which is ish, instead of correcting it with the ain that usually the students miss at this level. Grammar errors were okay, but again, the level was inconsistent with the proficiency level of the student because it kept commenting on the case endings. It's أقرأ كتابا, not kitab, which we don't ask students to do at this level. Vocab feedback, again, it was too formal, higher register than the expectations for this level. Grading, harsh grader, Gemini. So I think for just for the negotiations with the student, I should show them what they would get if I use Gemini. The improved version also was step up, like أطمح بشكل شبه يومي, and the feedback was not very detailed, no examples. ChatGPT,
With ChatGPT, yeah, spelling was good. I didn't have any concerns. With grammar, I already taught the أفعل form, so he considered it wrong, like أجمل مسجد. So أصحو وأستيقظ, they are the same. So what I'm trying to prove in here is that the interference of the instructor is super important to review the feedback that is given by any AI tool. And as I said, with grading blindly, ChatGPT was more or less close to what I have given to my students. And I was concerned about the improved writing because it made unnecessary changes sometimes, like the last sentence I showed, like would ignore the rest of the sentence and make his own sentence. And feedback to
next.
the student, I think was helpful. Observations on the performance of Gemini versus ChatGPT.
Yeah,
Amani?
we decided, we looked at the results. Gemini is reliable in creating an excellent and detailed writing prompts, so go for it. Creating a rubric with a grading scale, a breakdown, excellent for answering students' questions on grades, use it. And it provides a reliable spell check, adding connectors, checking connectors, and correct prepositions. ChatGPT, the strength.
Giving detailed feedback to students with concrete examples. And this was very helpful that they can practice, they can come back to the professor and they can practice with their TA. So the issue and the how to solve it. And giving detailed guidance to the instructor as well on how to address common mistakes in writing, especially if a student, an instructor without any experience in teaching, it will be super helpful. Suggesting أيضا a list of drills and class activities for any common issues in writing, and this can be done after we finish correcting all the assignments. Both, we have to agree that they were time-saving tools for the instructor, but they did not have any consistency in grading between the tools despite using the same rubric and same sample.
Okay, next. Are we okay on time? Last, that's the key. No, before key takeaways and reflections. Can the Arabic instructor depend on AI tools assistance in the assessment of writing assignments? And we said yes in improving the instructor's prompt. Yes in creating a reliable rubric and following it. Yes in detecting spelling and grammar. mistakes and providing an improved version for the student. Yes, in providing tailored feedback to students. Yes, we asked for ranking the students' performance in this group to track progress. Yes, in creating a vocab list, actually, to share with the students after the assignment or pre. No, in grading, don't depend on it because it will change every time you use a different tool. It doesn't understand proficiency level, so it will lower the grade because it thinks this is lower register. It also doesn't get the contextual clues, and it is not aligned with your textbook or your curriculum. So if you taught Bait and it suggests Menzel, it considers this a mistake. And not in providing authentic material. I asked for, can you give me authentic material samples for my students to share with? And it failed to provide any examples. Okay, I think this is the last. شكرا لحسن استماعكم واسفين على احنا يمكن اخذنا وقت اكتر شوي.
No, Amani and Ghada, thank you very much. You didn't take
Okay, الحمد لله.
Yeah. This is very insightful, and I think we have some room at the end of the conversation for this panel to talk about the key notions of authenticity is one of them. Aligning this to the ACTFL standards and proficiency levels, that's another piece. So I think it's an interesting topic to see how we can use this for assessment and evaluation. Now, I think, Amani, you just turn it over to Omima, perhaps.
Yes, we will move to our second presenters and presentation, and it's Omima. تفضلي يا Omima. You can. قوي. أميمة صديقة عزيزة ويعني حبوبة. Sure. Omima El Araby is senior lecturer of Arabic at NYU Abu Dhabi. Her presentation is focused more on guiding the students. So it's from the student's perspective. The first presentation was the instructor and the instructor's perspective. Omima will focus more on handling AI with the students or guiding the students in using AI. أي حاجة نسيتها يا أميمة؟
Just to see, Omima, take your time, okay? We are very good in terms of time. Just take your time, Omima.
Okay,
interesting, of course, as you will see here. It's an
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for attending our panel. In this presentation, I want to share with you an approach that I did, a technique that I did in my class this semester for Arabic 101, which is the first semester of Arabic starting with total beginners. And then right now, at the end of the semester, they are approaching the level of novice mid to novice high. This technique, the purpose of this technique is guiding the students for best practices. Why? Now, the overview of my presentation, I'm going to start with the rationale of the intervention, and I'm going to talk about the literature review that inspired me to take this action, and how I planned my intervention, how I guided the students into this assignment. And then I'm going to share samples of students' work and students' perspectives. And then I'm going to end with conclusion and reference of the articles that I consulted. For rationale, for intervention, I want to start with experience, with past experience and class observation. I have been teaching Arabic for about 31 years now for non-native speakers. Since over 30 years, since 1991. The bulk of my experience was before even the evolvement of Google Translate. And the authenticity of students' writing was not a big problem. The students' direct feedback that they get from the teacher was the bulk actually of the instructional time. We had direct feedback. Students would get direct feedback, and the teacher they looked at for the teacher as the main provider of feedback. We did not have to worry about the authenticity of students' writings, except in very, very rare and few cases. Now, later on, until I believe after 2010, maybe around 2013, Google Translate came, and we all know and remember how crude it was in the beginning. And I believe it still have some mistakes. So students resorting to use Google Translate, their work would be easily identified. Then later on came artificial intelligence with a great deal of sophistication. So, for example, this is how they can interact with the students in Arabic, with very next to no mistakes in their Arabic writing compared to what we can see with Google Translate. So how did I deal with all these problems of using Google Translate and then AI? I relied heavily in the beginning on resorting to the school policy on academic integrity. I stated in my syllabus a statement about the importance of conforming to the policy on academic integrity. And that's an example of, example of the policy of the statement I used in my syllabus to refer the students to the academic integrity, the policy on academic integrity, which was heavily prohibiting any assistance in assignment submission with heavy penalty. And then later on, I introduced online translation tools. My guidelines in the syllabus resorted to completely prohibiting online translation tools and warning the students about the loss of points, and then later on explaining how it's not going to help them in understanding the language, and it's not going to account for many aspects of the language script. And even just telling them straight that I will know. I will know because your instructor knows your writing style and the vocabulary that you know and frequently use. Did that help at all? I still get signs of students' reliance on online translation. So these are examples. These are two samples of students using Google Translate or online machine translation or AI. And those students are from the class of 101 in the 7th week. And as we can see here, that has all signs of using online translation, using very advanced grammar feature that will not be covered before the 4th semester of Arabic, such as the passive voice, or the 2nd semester, like the use of the conjugation of Laysa. And there's also, as you can notice here, there is no consistency. So this is the same student who used Laysa correctly here, but here she's not using it correctly. Laysa is not introduced at that level of elementary Arabic 1. So she's not consistent in using it because it's a completely new and foreign grammatical feature for her. The second example from the student that looked clearly that she actually put her English put her English paragraph in Google Translate, and then she wrote what she got. This is also 101, and as you can see, the writing is at a very advanced level. When I saw these are samples from my class in last fall, the fall of 2024. I figured out that there is a loss of opportunities for learning, especially that these information or these corrections actually that the students are using in their writing, they're not transferred into other assignments. So when they are speaking, when they are even doing their homework, when they are taking a quiz, for example, they're not showing that they have learned anything from the use of the online tools. That's another example from a student who was at the intermediate 1 class. And again, as we can see, all markers of using online translation and using vocabulary that were not learned at that level, especially that she can use structures to reflect the same meaning. However, she used completely foreign structures for her that were not transferred into other assignments. So there are learning loss. I noticed the learning opportunity of learning that are lost, and there is no sustainability of what is acquired. At this point, I started looking at to read and see what can I do to help my students figure out the shortcomings of online translation and AI tools, and to use it in a better way. So the literature that I consulted has actually confirmed my intuition of the observation that of the classroom observation. That AI has impact on learning, however, it's not empirically verified yet. And also, how do I guide my students to realize the need for human validation while acknowledging AI benefits? And how do I raise their awareness about the shortcomings of the use or the excessive use of AI in translation, in writing assignments, sorry. So specifically, the loss of learning, the weakened critical thinking, and of course, not conforming to honesty, academic honesty. And also I wanted to know, how do I help? What's the best way to help the students to use the AI effectively? So I started planning my intervention. In planning my intervention, there were challenges and concerns. I needed to write clear guidelines. I needed to train myself first of all and see how students use ChatGPT and what does ChatGPT provide them and offer them, and how do they better use it to get the best out of it. And also I was faced by the skill that they need to know, a new skill for them, which is typing. Those are students at the 101 level, Arabic 101. And they do all their work in handwriting in the first half of the semester, and learning a new skill might take some time. And I was wondering whether they would get the tailored feedback that's appropriate for their level. I also was thinking about the sustained learning. Is what they're going to learn from using AI would be sustained and transferred to other assignments and throughout their learning. And I also was concerned about the potential overuse of AI once I open the door and I start to let them or to allow the use of AI in the writing assignment. Would the students overuse it? So I started with the guidelines. Starting with this semester, I put an explicit statement about the use of AI in my syllabus. This is just part of it. It's more detailed than that. So in this statement, I let them know that the use of AI is allowed, but with limitations. What are the limitations? It's not permitted in submitting the daily homework or oral and written assignments, but it's used for practice. It's allowed to use for practice with permission and under my guidance. Now, who are my students that I applied this assignment to them for the first time this semester? Those are first semester of Arabic, elementary Arabic 1 or Arabic 101. And the assignment I assigned them this writing assignment on week 8. They are 10 students of various linguistic backgrounds. 6 of them with previous Arabic learning experience, so they have learned briefly Arabic before, or they came from an Islamic background where they learned to read the Quran. But 4 of them were total beginners. The proficiency level, as I said, was novice mid to novice high. Now, what the writing assignments in this class are 3. I assigned them 3 writing assignments. So the first one was just writing 50 words about self and immediate family. And they practice at home, but the assignment is done in class in handwriting in 30 minutes. 30 minutes, write 50 words about your immediate family. The second writing assignment, this is the one that I chose for them to use it to practice getting feedback from ChatGPT. And I focused on ChatGPT, as Amani mentioned, and Ghada, about the accessibility and the preferences. Students, majority of students prefer to use it. And so the second assignment was to be first handwritten, submit a draft for students to submit a draft that's handwritten. And then they're going to type it in. And then after they type it in, they're going to get feedback from ChatGPT. And then they're going to finalize according to the feedback, they are going to finalize their essay and submit it electronically. And then I did a follow-up step to do another, to have them write another essay in class in a specific time, 30 minutes, write an essay about your extended family. So the first assignment was immediate family, second assignment is the extended family. My guidelines, this is just a summary of the guidelines I provided to the students. For writing the draft, write 80 to 100 words about your extended family using the range of vocabulary and grammar learned in class thus far. For typing in, I give them also guideline for the tools that they can use to transfer their handwriting into typing. So I try to guide them in this respect to make the task easy for them. And then using ChatGPT, for this step, I had detailed guidelines. And of course, after that, they were supposed to finalize their essay. Now, ChatGPT guidelines, the first part here is about getting the feedback. What are they going to do with the feedback that they get? This is in the second part of the guidelines. So I asked them specifically to go to ChatGPT and write this question. Ask ChatGPT this specific question. Check my Arabic writing only for grammar and spelling. And please list my mistakes without corrections or explanations. And then I asked them after they do that they need to copy their typed in text and then place it in the prompt box. Because ChatGPT is going to tell them, yes, sure, I can help you. Just share with me what you want to review. So they need to type in the writing. Once that happens, ChatGPT is going to provide them with listed sentences and numbered. So what do the students supposed to do with this? The sentences are not going to be accompanied by any feedback. They need to copy and paste them in a Word document, underline where you think the mistake is in each sentence, and below each incorrect sentence, write your own correction. So I wanted to raise their awareness of their own mistakes and also get themselves, before just getting the corrections and include it in the writing without thinking, to think about why are these things wrong? How can I correct it on my own without the help of ChatGPT? The fourth step was for them to look at the sentences where they didn't find or figure out where the mistake is or why it was wrong. And I asked them to ask ChatGPT for explanation for these specific sentences and give them the exact example of the prompt that they can use. And can you explain my mistake in number so and so? And I directed them or suggested to them that they can actually use another language other than English, since my students come from different linguistic backgrounds, and I want them to feel comfortable getting the feedback and benefit from the feedback in the language that they feel most comfortable with. The second part of the guidelines, what do you do after all these steps? Read the explanations thoroughly, and choose the explanations that are either not clear to you or you need more elaboration on, and ask ChatGPT to explain or clarify for you. So examples of prompts that would be used in this step, I listed them for specific feedback and elaboration. Now I want them to read the clarifications again and maybe ask for more examples if needed. I wanted to see how they interacted with the ChatGPT. So I asked them to submit the whole conversation with ChatGPT by copying and pasting it in a Word document and then submit it to me. However, there is an easier way, is just to get a link from ChatGPT and send it to me, and I can see it online. Then finalization of the essay should be done completely without using ChatGPT. That's the first sample. I chose just one sample to show you that draft in handwriting. As you can see, there are some mistakes that should be easy for the students to correct and some other that are not as easy. That's the same student got this list of the mistakes. He was able to correct all of them except for the mistake number 8. He did not understand why Fi Layla is not correct. So he asked ChatGPT for clarifications, and then he got it. And this is the feedback that he shared with me about his experience. What was easy to figure out was what was not. And then at the end, he said it was overall, this assignment was very insightful and I really enjoyed doing it. Some other students in their interaction with ChatGPT, I noticed that they found out that there was critical thinking involved in their interaction with ChatGPT, that they already figured out that he's giving them feedback that's not appropriate for their levels. Like the students who just wrote a note, I don't think this is an issue I should be thinking about at the elementary level. And corrections, this is another student who got corrections, and many students got correction in this grammatical feature, the use of Lysa. We don't go over the use of Lysa in details at this level. However, the students, of course, got correction and feedback from ChatGPT about the use of Lysa. So this student asked ChatGPT, why is this wrong? And ChatGPT gave her the feedback, detailed more than this, but just for the sake of the presentation, I didn't get the whole exchange, the whole feedback, and provided her with the correction of Lysa and how she should use it with the feminine noun. It's another mistake that is very common at the level of elementary Arabic 1, the use of the definite article with the possessive ending. And then the student here also asked and then got a detailed explanation about it. The use of the verb adhab without the preposition ila, use of, this is from the previous student, the explanation of Layla. And then another insightful comment from another student about the feedback that she got from ChatGPT when she said engagement and depth feedback was not useful because I have not learned vocab for that yet. This is in her interaction with ChatGPT. She's telling ChatGPT, I did not learn that yet, so this is not useful. In conclusion, implementing this technique showed how important it is to provide students with clear guidelines for every step in an assignment. And also, it helped me figure out how students actually interact with technology, and how eager they are to use technology for their own benefit. For example, when I directed them to platforms to change their handwriting into typing, some of them used a tool that was not listed, and it was actually much simpler than what I listed, which is just to type it in on their phone, the language on the phone, and then the keyboard on the phone is much easier to use on that way. And I also learned that typing in Arabic for beginner students is not as challenging or difficult as we as teachers thought. Observing a sustained learning and follow-up classroom writing and presenting. As I mentioned before, that my follow-up step was to assign the students to write similar essay about their extended family in the classroom in 30 minutes. I did that, and then I looked at their writing, and I found out that some of the things that they learned in ChatGPT in the first assignment was actually transferred in that assignment. So I saw a correct use of Laysa for masculine and feminine. Some of them got corrections about the use of the dual, and I saw that used in their writing in the classroom. So was there a sustained learning using ChatGPT in the short term? This is what I observed. However, that needs to be verified in more trials in larger classes. And then tailored feedback and the student autonomy. And I felt like students really took control of their own learning when they were interacting with ChatGPT. They were asking the right questions. They were asking for elaboration on the point, the point that they decided that they want to learn more about. Critical thinking and awareness of the learning process. And I have seen some signs of that, as I showed in the students' remarks to ChatGPT. Implications for curriculum improvement. I'm thinking that we need to think more as teachers of Arabic for non-native speakers about the delay of teaching Laysa and the dual. Whether this really helpful to be delayed till the end of the second term or the second semester of Arabic, or could it be introduced in the first semester?
Omima, معلش, we are 5 minutes over the time,
Okay.
so if you can wrap it up.
This is the conclusion, so that's the last slide. Now, combating potential risk for overuse of AI, this is also needs to be tried in a larger class and to follow with the students for a longer time in their use of AI to see if there is a risk for overuse of AI. A future plan, like I just mentioned, that this trial, I would like to try it again with the other classes in larger classes. That happened that this class was off sync. It was only one section of 10 students. But since Elementary Arabic 1 is introduced always in the fall with larger number of students. This is the references. And thank you. And shukran.
شكرا أميمة. Now we have to move on to last but not least, the most important, Dr. Attia Youseif, Senior Lecturer of Arabic, Indiana University, Bloomington, and evaluating writing proficiency with AI tools according to ACTFL guidelines. We all need your help with this, Dr. Attia, please.
Thank you so much, Dr. Amani, Ghada, Omima, and thank you, Dr. Mahmoud, and for Sesame Center there, and Circle as well, for very well, amazing organized in both session in person and virtual as well. Actually, it's very, very beneficial and very, very helpful for our colleagues to share their experience and to get benefits from all. Firstly, I would love to thank our amazing group team here, Amani, Ghada, Omima. We work together in many projects, and they are like amazing colleagues and doing hard job. That we are work together for everything. Either my presentation, it's kind of conclusion for this webinar or for our session. I mean, it's about, okay, now we heard from Amani and Ghada how the instructors can use ChatGPT and Gemini to get or to assess and evaluate or get feedback about the students' writing. And they give us very like incredible insights from instructors' perspectives. And with Omima sessions, we like get amazing knowledge from her experience and that she did with her classes to get information about students' perspectives of using AI and how this reflected in their class and in their output or outcomes, or like one of the very important productive skills writing is. And as Omima mentioned, students, they learn something they didn't, it's not in their curriculum yet, about Laysa and about Dole. And this is amazing that give students like always students like seeking to know more. They have a curiosity, and they are curious to learn more, and the AI help them to feed them in this side. So my presentation or my session, it's very short, but it's kind of conclusion. Okay, after we see the like hard work from Amani, Ghada, and Omima, how we can evaluate writing based on the most famous like a standard scale like ACTFL, ILR, and CIF. So guidelines for sure. So my session, it's very short, but it doesn't mean it takes long and hard time to get it. For sure, we will work, try to have like writing evaluations based on ACTFL, and all of us know about ACTFL that we like work on here in US and like beyond and beyond. ILR, it's most like federal standard or scale, and several it's European skills as well. So as a teacher, as an instructor, I wanna know, or I wanna AI to help me identify or to evaluate the students' outcomes. I mean, writing or productive skills, writing in terms of, or like the ACTFL skills or ILR skills, or CIFR skills. So I create, before to go this is ACTFL, and we know ACTFL, they have main levels, novice, intermediate, and advanced, and superior. And there is sub-levels with low, mid, and high for each one, except superior. ILR, they have like from 0 to 1. This is the novice, it kind of novice, low, mid, high, and it's equal A1 with CIFR, and intermediate with low, mid, high. It's almost 1+ in ILR and A2 in CIFR. Advanced low, it's 2 based on ILR and B1 in CIFR. Advanced mid, 2+ ILR, B2 in CIFR, and advanced high, 3 to 3+ or C1 in CIFR. Superior, it's 4+ in ILR and C2 in CIFR. So this is the most famous like guideline proficiency skills in the world, right? So I create the chatbots. I called him Rightwise. So this Rightwise chatbot, you will see here, like ACTFL evaluation, or you want to evaluate the students' writing based on ACTFL, just click ACTFL evaluation. You want to evaluate students like based on several skills or guidelines, you can just click so. You want to like evaluate students based on ILR standard or scale, you can do it. You don't want to evaluate them, just needs assessment and feedback, just click assessment and feedback. This is the 4 categories that you can see in Rightwise. Let's do the thing that like together now. Just this is my Rightwise, and as we are one team, we will try to copy the sample from that Amani and Ghada used, and I will go here and let's start with ACTFL. I just will click ACTFL evaluation and just wait like a second, and he will try to read the document that I customized. I uploaded it to ask him, look, just you have your knowledge, file knowledge. Don't do anything. Just analyze or evaluate based on this files. And give me which one of those. It doesn't matter for me if like, if I can get in one. Okay, I prefer this response. Okay, and now I will just pass but the students writing. That's what I do. Okay, and run. In second, you will go ACTFL evaluation results, intermediate med. Why this is intermediate med? Evidence from ACTFL guidelines about why this is intermediate med. And like key language area that need to work about the grammar. Actually, I designed the prompt to give me the level and why he evaluate this a certain level, why this writing fit this certain level. Okay, based on the skill, ACTFL or ILR or several, and we will try all. And after that, I will ask him, okay, by the end, give students recommendations or guide students to improve their writing to go for the next level. And he will give us that. As well, I asked him, don't correct the students. Give the students tasks. Give the students tasks to correct themselves, to help them to correct. So for the he give like verb conjugation. أحب أن ينام كثيرا في صفوف التجارة. Look, he gave them, it's not correct because using wrong blah blah blah. And this is the better example. أحب أن ينام والدي مبكرا. It's not the student's example. And the task, can you revise this sentence so that the verb after an correctly? So this is the help students to correct themselves. In terms of preposition, أجري بسرعة قريب منطقة. قريب منطقة. قريب من, he wants قريب من. And this is one of the issues that Amani and Ghada mentioned. I will talk about this a little bit. And they give أمشي كل صباح قريب من البحر. It's a great example, and I think it's simple example. It's simple example fit for the novice level. And the task, can you rewrite your part of your sentence to include the correct preposition? Okay. Why قريب منطقة or كلمة قريب or ليلى, the AI detect it as a mistake. was a question from Amani and Ghada, and this is because he get to use it as adverb, قريبا من, قريبا or ليلا instead of في الليلة أو في ليلة or قريب. So if he like most likely want it as adverb, wanna see it as adverb like قريبا أو بعيدا blah blah blah. So about إضافة and structure, like صفي التجارة. قال له why? The إضافة should be blah blah blah, and he gave better example. درس اللغة العربية. So try to restructure that phrase with better إضافة. So it's kind of very helpful for students to help him. He doesn't correct himself, he helps them to correct themselves. Gender, أحب أن أسهر في ليلة. Like ليلة, feminine, blah blah blah. أحب أن أسهر ليلة الخميس. So he need, this is time, but time it's not like what time exactly. في ليلة الجمعة, في ليلة السبت, في ليلة الخميس, or in general ليلا. So if students wrote ليلا أحب أن أسهر ليلا or في الليل, he will consider it correct. And this is the thing that Amani mentioned about the lack of contextual understanding. We are a human, have more understanding more than the AI in this part. One thing more about sentence structure, تركيب الجملة. He give them the examples and ask them things. تنوع المفردات or like word choice and reaching vocab. أستمتع بصلاة مع والدتي. بصلاة. أستمتع بالصلاة مع عائلتي يوم الجمعة. So, and he tried to fix it again. Spelling, it's no problem. It's something, this is the easiest job for AI to do. Spelling. أدوات الربط or connectors. He told them, nice, you did it nice, and you can expand it to لذلك, بعد ذلك, بالنسبة لي, and give him the task as well. Cultural relevance. About the cultural relevance, there is a cultural relevance for the cultural awareness as well. He give them very good feedback and ask them. So recommendation to reach intermediate high. Practice past and future tense. Try blah blah blah. Focus on verb, non-agreement, position, expand blah blah blah, and try to write full paragraph. For sure, this is based on the ACTFL guideline. And final thought, you are doing great, because I asked him by the end, encourage students to be more like optimistic for his like Arabic journey, learning journey. This is the example from ACTFL, and ACTFL give him like intermediate mid, and I think this is better than of the just random from the ChatGPT or Gemini. What about if I want to do it with YXF? Just I will click to evaluation, and he will try to analyze or try to understanding the rubric or that I give him. Now I will give him the writing. Just you can see I didn't need to write anything, just to give him the student's writing. And wait a second. Okay. For the results or for the scale or rating or evaluating your safer writing level B1 intermediate, and B1 for intermediate mid, I think it's the same level, right? And why B1? Why B1? Your writing meets the safer B1 description because blah blah blah. Okay, and this is very important, students, to know what is the features of the level. How is like this is give him like improve idea to improve his writing for sure. For the details, again, أينام أحب أن أنام طويلا في صفي أحيانا. أحب أن أنام. Give him like a better phrase and give him a task. Can you find and correct the verb أينام in your writing? The preposition as well, they doing the same. And مقابلات كثيرا. This is for the and تركيب الإضافة as well, or إضافة structures and gender agreement for the adjective. You can see مقابلات كثيرا. عندي مقابلات عديدة الليلة. Yes, واستعمل عديدة. Okay, instead of كثيرا. This is highest level. This is higher little bit. Supposed to say عندي مقابلات كثيرة instead of عديدة. But it doesn't hurt that students can use عديدة. Why not? Yes, they are in novice, but we can find some students have like a passion to know more and more, and they can use عديدة. And the other students, can they figure out, yes, it's about تاء التأنيث, about تاء التأنيث here, so you can use كثيرة as well. For the sentence structures, أستمتع بالصلاة مع والدتي، ألعب كرة السلة ولا أذهب إلى صفوفي. أستمتع بالصلاة مع والدتي وأختي وخاصة في المسجد الجميل يوم السبت. He say المسجد الجميل instead of مسجد جميل يا أماني and Ghada, or أجمل مسجد. Okay, so and the المسجد الجميل, it makes sense to have it the adjective as well. And I give again the task. And for تنوع المفردات and abbreviation, for the spelling, for connectors, and how to improve to reach level B2. You should do this. And encouragement, he gives him some like vibes to encourage him to do a lot of work as well. The third kind of evaluation, ILR, you need just click. You will just try to understanding the levels, structures, and description that I uploaded it to him, and just to give the writing. And in look, it's very like ILR 1+. It's elementary proficiency plus 1+. Give him 1+. You writing demonstrate basic sentence blah blah blah, and why. Give him a why evidence for ILR placement based on ILR content, about the content, about the sentence, about verb usage, organization, or vocab. And this is some of the details as well. He gives them with the same way. Give examples with different words from students, but in appropriate level, not high level words, and give them task to like revise or to correct their writing. He did the same, and like أدرس وأقابل في مكتبة أصدقائي للدراسة. I don't know why you make it like this. الخميس and Salafar, for sure, like the spelling, it's easiest one. For connectors, you did great job for the culture awareness or relevance. And after that, recommendation to reach IR level 2. In level 2, we give them like the recommendations and encouragement as well. So if you don't want any of this evaluation and just need feedback, it's okay. You can just click the feedback, assessment and feedback, and he will do it for you in a second. Okay, go ahead. He will not mention any of guidelines of ACTFL or ILR or SIP, just feedback, analysis, grammar, and blah blah blah. أحب أن أنام طويلا في صفي. Task, do blah blah blah. You just give them, try to help them to correct themselves without mention any evaluation or any standards. Okay, and cultural awareness and the summary of strength as well. Final task for you, do blah blah blah. And that's all for with the right-wise. That's it. So I can share with you the link that all of you can use it. It's our like gift to you today, Dr. Mahmoud, for all the audience. They can use it by themselves. Either students can use them.
Thank you, Attia. I think at some point, the next step here is to see if we can create a resource where we ask the presenters to provide some of their materials. I know there is an intellectual property here that's in place, but I think it may be useful to create a resource where
it will be great,
teachers and instructors can already find, and hopefully I think we may find some money maybe during the summertime or next year, hopefully, to try to categorize these by function. So if you resources for evaluating writing, and then you find here AI tools that help you to evaluate writing. Now, I think we have around 15 to 20 minutes to take questions for Amani, Ghada, Omima, and Attia. And I want to make sure that I give you 10 minutes before we get to the next panel.
Okay, just very quickly, closing remarks as we finish our 3 presentations. We hope that you have enjoyed and benefited from these presentations. We hope that we have contributed a little bit to advancing Arabic teaching toward the cutting edge technology of AI. This panel's research is really work in progress. We are planning to build on, and we invite you all to explore these insights further and consider how wonderful AI tools might wonderfully enhance your teaching practices. In closing, this research demonstrated to us that AI can be a transformative tool in language teaching, but the role of the instructor remains irreplaceable, which is good news for all of us, right? We still have our jobs. Instructors are needed to ensure that AI tools are used thoughtfully by the students, as Omima showed us, and in alignment with pedagogical goals and proficiency guidelines like Dr. Attia showed us. Instructors' expertise will transform AI from a mere tool into a powerful enhancer of the learning experience, and the instructors remain the architect of effective AI integration in education. أشكركم. Thank you.
Thank you, Amani. We got some questions answered already in the chat, but then we have 6 open questions. We have, I think, 1 question for Attia. Liana, can you just ask your question directly to Attia if you don't mind it? Or if would you like me to read it, I will go ahead and read it aloud.
Okay, Mahmoud, you can.
Okay. So I have some questions for Professor Attia. How do you use the WriteWise chatbot? Do you use it to evaluate writing level for your own knowledge? Or do you have your students use it on their own to improve their writing skills?
In both. We can use it. You can use it in both. For as a teachers, I can use it to give students or evaluate students' writing and give students feedback, certain feedback, and very beneficial feedback with our human touch, for sure. We know our students, we know our students' needs, so we can edit what we want and focus on what we want, like tailor it for the students. And either I can share it with the students, ask them, okay, write your writing, do your task for our assigned writing, and use the WriteWise to get feedback and to improve your writing before to submit it. So we can use it in both, in like teacher sides or students as well.
Thank you, Attia. I think the next two questions are quite related, asked by the same colleague, Mohammed Wazan. I think it could be answered by any of you. I'm wondering if you can share with us how teachers, educators can ensure that the students using generative AI tools to improve their Arabic are still developing authentic language skills and not becoming overtly reliant on these tools.
Omima, you have worked on the students' perspective and you worked more with the students. Would you like to take this question?
I think we can all share. Yeah.
I think one of the important ways to help students use it effectively is the guidelines.
Exactly.
In the syllabus, the policy on using AI is very important to be put explicitly in the syllabus. And then the assignments that the teacher develops specifically to use AI should be structured very carefully, and the guidelines should be as clear as possible to avoid that.
Exactly, Omima. I totally agree with you. That's why we need to include our syllabus a very detailed and guidelines for students to use AI. Okay, this is one of the best thing. But about the students then can use AI tools to do their assignments. We have highlighted in our syllabus and everywhere in university policy that it's not allowed to let AI do your assignments on behalf of you. Just you can use it, but under teachers or instructors' guidelines. If students have the very clear guidelines and they have with highlighted, it's not allowed that to use it to do their assignment on behalf, for sure they will do it carefully and they will consider anything. For the AI detective or detection, there is many tools. Either I believe the Canvas has the same as well, that you can figure out if he used or she used the AI tools or not.
Thank you, Attia. I think related to the risks, the title that we suggested for this is the potential and the risks. And I think Mohammed Wazan is getting into the risks now and asks, could this kind of relying on AI tools flatten our students' creativity and our personal voice in writing?
Anyone would like to answer? Anyone can jump to answer and I can.
تفضل أستاذ عطية.
So for the risk, actually, it's not just about the writing. Dr. Mahmoud Wazan and Dr. Mahmoud Azad. It's not just about the writing, about the learning, processing all the instructions. All there is some voices that students using AI, they will make them lazy learning. They will lose their passion. They will lose their some of the intellectual skills or something like this. And in other hand, there is a voices saying no, it can has enhance many of the competences, creativity competences for the students, and they can give students more motivation to learning. So what is the side that where we are now? Actually, to be accurate, we have just short time to say something accurately. It's just from late November 2022 until now. It's almost 3 years, almost 3 years. And this studies or this answer need long term to examine exactly there is impact positively or negatively about students using AI or not. This one. Another one, in terms of what? In terms of learning in general, or education in general, or in terms of the language or humanity part? Because for the science and math, maybe it's different. It's totally different about our perspective, or about our fields, humanity field, or language world. So we need partners for language. We need partners. We need resources for the math and science part. I think it's another story. So it depends on the students themselves, about their passion, about how we can encourage them to use it, and how we can make it fun for them, how we can let students enjoy and play to learn a lot, either with writing. So there is no like black and white now about this area, Dr. Mahmoud, because it's short term. And yes, there is a couple of studies they published, and some of them enhancing the both. One hunting lazy learning, and one like finding, no, it's like very positively learning. We don't know exactly what is this, because in my opinion, it's short time to have this decision, short time to have investigation for this. Is needed investigation in long term with different areas. Language area, it's different about science area. So to examine the positively or negatively impact, it's not easy to say, but in my experience with my students in the class, it makes students to highly motivation level, and they love it. You can imagine that you can ask students to create, they can create the song from the new vocab that they learn. It's something they will love it. You can ask students to like give immediate feedback, because one of the big challenges for us, like teachers, we have a lot of assignment or tasks for students, especially with writing. Yeah. And maybe we provide like late feedback from students. Some of teachers, they don't give feedback, just they receive the assignment. But let's have like with the optimistic vision, they do their feedback for writing, students writing, but they cannot do it immediately. So the students' assignment writing today, I cannot do it for today or tomorrow because I have a lot of work. So this is help us to give the feedback immediately, or immediate feedback, and either we can ask a student to use it to give immediate feedback, because immediate feedback, it's very impactful, very, very benefit for students. If we let it, students will not look at it. So
yeah, and if you just to relate this to what we know about how students process and learn language, the explicit feedback is much needed in certain grammatical features. And I see potential for this when you focus on, let's say, the subject-verb agreement and the different types of sentences. I think you kind of asked the question here that was asked by Rania Zarur, if you use it for immediate feedback only, or you use it for grading purposes. And I think you are saying, Attia, that you are using it for both, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, we have one more question by Fadi Al-Isa. Do you think that AI-powered language learning platforms could teach learners about the cultural nuances and the context that come with the Arabic language?
They could, but with limited. They have a limited for culture awareness, and like as Amani mentioned in his presentation about textual context, the AI tools not human at all. So the culture, it's related to human being, related to the society, related to the language directly. for the AI tools, it might be like supplementary resources to enhance culture awareness or to enhance like culture aspects, but to just have it as a main resource, I don't recommend it, because they have a limitation for the understanding the culture awareness.
I can add to this, Dr. Attia. احنا myself and Ghada, we're working on testing AI tools in enhancing the cultural awareness for our students. We give them themes and we ask them to go find what AI teaches you about hospitality in the Arab world, or how in Arabic we use expressions that has Allah in it, or so we give them tasks. But like you said, AI carries sometimes the bias and the stereotyping that is on the internet, because this is where it gets its information. So yes, you can send them to do research on culture, but you have to, again, the professor, the instructor is key in adjusting what they find. Come back and tell me what you find, and let's discuss it. For instance, even in simple things like greetings, we said, go and find how Arabs greet each other when they meet. Everybody said, Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I said, we have a lot of varieties. We have مساء الفل, مساء الخير, نورت, أهلا وسهلا, خطوة عزيزة. Like none of that was there. And it was just like the standard formal. And sometimes I call it stereotypical. And that's why you have to send them and bring them back and discuss and have a discussion, open discussion about what they find in terms of the culture.
Yeah, thank you, Amani. I think Goodwin Jones, when he was here, there was basically I think the core of his presentation about that these AI tools could be okay in evaluating writing, but I think the argument that he made is we are still far away behind in guiding these AI tools to get into the pragmatic aspects of language. We all know that Arabic is very, very rich, sophisticated, complicated in that sense, a bit behind. I have one question for Amani and Ghada that speaks directly to the assessment or evaluation or grading of writing features. I think the part of the creativity of the human grader, you and I and so many people in the audience, is this. When we evaluate a piece of writing, we are able to anticipate the thought process that went into changing or converting or realizing the thought, the meaning into form, into language. And as we do this in writing, we can kind of guess, make a guess that the student wanted to say here this and that.
Yes.
And based on that, we give feedback to the students. Now, to what degree do you think AI could be really very skilled in understanding that interlanguage down the way, and understanding the cognitive processes behind writing from a superficial sample, and then giving the feedback based on that?
I mean, so far, it hasn't been successful in reading these contextual clues. That's why it affected the way it graded our students as opposed to the way we grade them. We're a little bit, we know the background, we know, like you said, we anticipate what they want to say. They don't want to say أدرس الاقتصاد واللغة العربية. They want to say أدرس, but they're mixing up the two. They want to say يوم الأربعاء, but they say يوم العربية. We get that from the context, from the classroom environment, from knowing and having experience with the level and the kind of mistakes they make so far. But so far it hasn't been successful, and I think that's why we recommend the instructor to review the grade, not to take it blindly. But who knows? I mean, this is like Dr. Attia said, like this is developing and progressing and becoming better and better every day, every hour. So who are we to judge how it's going to be down the road?
I think it's going to improve, Amani. If you look at what all these tools look like in terms of Arabic language in particular, all these
Yep.
algorithms for Arabic,
Yes.
and you see where we were a year ago
Yes.
and now, I think we are in a very different moment right now. A year ago, when I was thinking of what should be the theme for the workshop or for the event, I think the conversation was just starting. Now I think the conversation in under a year is way ahead, getting into even how to assess and how to grade. So I think it's going to progress. I think the investment is going to be immense, right, in terms of data sciences, and
Yes.
hopefully this will reflect also in Arabic. I want to make sure that I give you 10 minutes for getting a cup of coffee or getting some water before we get to the next panel. That's starting in around 12 minutes.
Thank you.
So we recommend that you stay over Zoom with us here. Just unmute, rest a bit, and then we'll see you shortly. Thank you.
Thank you, Shukran. Thank you, Dr. Mahmoud. Thank you all.